Ahead of the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Japan. The summit, which begins on Wednesday in Yokohama, will focus on Africa's economic transformation, private sector investment, and sustainable development. During his stay, President Tinubu will join other African leaders in plenary sessions, hold bilateral talks, and meet with top executives of Japanese companies already investing in Nigeria. Now back in Nigeria, the country has marked a milestone in clean energy with the launch of MT Iyaloja, which is a 40,000 cubic meter liquefied petroleum gas vessel built in South Korea. At the commissioning, President Tinubu, represented by the Minister of State for Gas, praised NNPCL's Sahara Group as well as WAGL Energy for advancing Africa's role in global clean energy. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu joins me now to discuss this further. Good morning, Mr. Chika. Good to see you. Very well, thank you. I love the splash of color. You're bringing lots of light to us here today. Great. All right, let's begin with the commissioning of the LPG carrier built for West Africa Gas Limited. What should we know about
Okay. I mean, gas is a big story in Nigeria. And anytime we talk about gas in Nigeria, what we used to hearing is the flaring of the gas, wasting of the gas. So each time there's a good story about gas becoming an economic value, we tend to celebrate it. This West African Gas Company Limited is a public sector, private sector initiative or joint venture between NNPC and Ocean Bed Limited. Ocean Bed, I think, happens to be a subsidiary, of Sahara Group. And basically, the Ocean Bed is bringing in their expertise in trading to complement NNPC's ownership of the natural gas fleet. And together, they're working together to make sure that that is traded in the market. So far recorded, they said I've sold about 6 million cubic liters of LPG around West Africa. Companies like this now, normally the next thing I would have asked is that let me see the financials, but this is the kind of thing they are celebrating. So this is a very good initiative, at least for NNPC. Instead of the usual thing we hear about flaring of gas, this gas now is being converted to an economic value.
Right, certainly, and I'm sure this has probably been in the works for quite a bit to get process-wise, that is.
It's been on, I think, 2003 or something like that. It's been on. So the joint venture has been on for some time. And then you can see that the vessel they launched, they had the objective again to get two other bigger vessels to enable them, expand their reach in the market.
Right. If we look at regional trade, in what ways will this project influence Nigeria's role there?
In the sense that where have these African countries been getting their gas supply from? And we keep saying that if Nigeria will get our acts right, we don't even need to get out to our African shores for market. That the market is very large in Africa. Look at aviation, for instance. A lot of times when you want to go to any West African country, you have to fly into Europe first and then come into the African country you want to go into because of the lack of connectivities. The same thing, a lot of African countries get their products from outside Africa. And so initiatives like this help in cementing, making real, for example, the ECOWAS trade treaty, even the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. So the market is large for this West African gas company as they get the bigger vessels.
Right.
And the gas supply is used in households, used in factories and on other places.
Right. The sensitization around gas is pretty much heightened over the last few years. So it's our hope that this helps to ease processes even further. Let's look next at the president's participation in the Tokyo International Conference on African Development. What do we need to know about this to begin with?
Our Western colleagues, who do the things we do, a lot of time tease us that each time there's an event outside Africa, it's like you're saying, "Oh, you must go," but African heads of state to just pack their bag and baggage and just get out of Africa, as if Africa is like too hot for them. It's like a release for them to go out of Africa. And so this Thai card or T card, I mean, no matter how, depending on how you pronounce it, it says Tokyo International Conference on African Development, set up by United Nations, African Union, and then of course UNDP, the usual language, and Japan, the usual language, to bring together, create a union, foster the partnerships to see how investments can cluster into Africa. So the question therefore would be that is this a jamboree, a social jamboree for African heads of state, or is it for real? For us as a country, you see, we saw the report that President and the VP has spent about 9 billion in 8 months in international travels. And our president has spent, according to reports, about 25%, 30% of his time outside the country throughout his 2 years tenure. So you ask yourself, do we get benefits of that? I mean, there are reports that say that we have gotten about $50 billion of investment commitments. So for us, this is that's something in it for us. So the president is going there with his team and other private investors to meet private investors. Again, remember that the major thing now is to look for investment to come into Nigeria. That will reduce unemployment we have, it creates wealth for our citizens and the other elements that come from it.
You raised some very legitimate concerns, and I want to hold on to a word again as well. Measurability-wise, how do we assess and gauge the impact of this participation at this conference? How do we, revisit this a year from now and say, hey, where is Japan, where is Nigeria investment-wise and bilaterally as well? This
Thai card, or T card as you want to call it, I think it's been on since 1993. And based on this reports I've seen, there have been successes recorded, helping, there have been issues of building elementary schools all over Africa, creating health centers all over Africa, providing water, pipe water all over Africa. But those are kind of things I've seen. And then Japanese making commitment of investment to Africa running to billions of dollars. So I guess that part of the president's agenda will include speaking to Japanese companies, especially those who already have investments in Nigeria, to encourage them to bring in more. And those who are there, who are not here in Nigeria, to also convince them to come into Nigeria. So I have a feeling that when we look at a foreign direct investment report in maybe next 1 year, we better see, hopefully, a lot of investments coming in, arising from the trip of our president to this conference.
Right. We've heard Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu. We're going to remember that statement. Many thanks for joining us, Global Business Room. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hopefully, all right then.